Alright, guys, I'm officially caught up with every episode of the new series, Pokemon Journeys, however the heck you want to call it, because there's like multiple names for this thing since they won't give a freaking sub-mini title for it, but whatever, it is what it is, and it's still good the way it is. Now we have the traditional goodbye, enter character or Pokemon's name here episode, where it doesn't really even leave or get released, because it's an easy way to get a sad themed episode with putting a title like that. First things first, I'm actually really curious if them evolving Ghost Scorbunny to a Raboot a last minute decision, simply because it evolved like what, just 2 or 3 episodes ago. And as of this recording, because so far only 22 episodes have been out and we're still in hiatus, they still haven't updated the opening yet. They did update the ending, but the opening still shows Scorbunny in Ghost's side. So I wonder if it's just a animating budget issue or they never intended for Scorbunny to evolve this early. But anywho, I can't go back now, and we got a Raboot that likes to jam with its feet. I do also love the fact that at the beginning of this episode, Ash and Go were attempting to draw Pokemon from their Rotom phones, and it looked horrendous. They tried to ask Pikachu who had the better drawing, and Pikachu was like, I'd rather not answer. And to be honest, I mean, I can kind of relate with them. I don't draw that well, and my skill level is almost the same as how they tried to draw. I believe it was a Garchomp. So they go to Hoenn to do a mini research mission on this Beautifly migration. And in Japanese, Beautifly is known as Agehunt or Age Hunt, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced as Agehunt. And Go, still reeling over his 3 Cascoons, really wanted to catch a Silcoon so he could end up having his own Beautifly and complete the Wurmple evolutionary line. And I also love that Silcoon's name in Japanese is Carasalis. And I know there's like a similar word that I can't remember off the top of my head that has a similar sound to it that relates to a cocoon. Because of course, Kakuna from Kanto is already close to the word cocoon. And I just love learning more names of Pokemon in Japanese because of how uniquely different it is from the English translation. Even when I sing along during Pokemon Shitori, you also learn a lot of names and how the Japanese pronounce it, because sometimes it's different from what you think it sounds based on the way of their spelling. And sometimes you also gotta put an extra emphasis on some of the syllables in those words in Japanese. Like whenever they see Team Rocket, you never hear them say Rocket Gang. You hear them say Roketto Gang. And I just love how they pronounce it like that. It just makes me really want to maybe learn Japanese one day if I have the time. But it's just been a learning experience every time when you watch something that's in a different language and have subtitles on. Anyways, back to the episode. They stay in Hoenn for like 4 days, and they reserved their own place there during their stay. It looked really cozy, and I also love that Raboot has its own bed, just a solo bed to itself, while Pikachu just tucks in close with Ash, and even tuck itself with the blanket, even though it's kind of wearing a hoodie that's implanted to its body. Or a jacket, I guess, not really a hoodie. And poor Go, man, you just feel for him in this episode. He tries so hard to get along with his newly evolved pal, and it just shuts him down every time. He tries to act nice when he decides to get those apples, buy those apples, and Rabbifuto doesn't share it with him. And it's funny because Ash even made a comment that I won't even share my croquettes with you if I had a bunch of them. Oh, Ash. Of course you won't. I mean, I won't. Good food. Good choice, my boy. Though I do have to give like a nitpick a bit. I wish Ash would have been more aware of what's going on between Go and Raboot, and maybe give his own insight to what he experienced when his Charmander evolved into a Charmeleon or any other Pokemon that disobeyed him at first. But Charmander's evolution to Charmeleon was a good example because it's very similar to what Raboot is doing right now. Although Raboot is still being a bit respectful, still following Go around. It just doesn't want to be all buddy-buddy with him, basically. And I like it how they left off with the previous episode of him not wanting, or him being okay with Scorbunny not to learn a Fire-type move. And now we're getting to that development of Raboot slowly getting back Go's trust and his friendship again as they go through this weird rebellious period, I should say. Because it's obviously still feeling better about Go being okay for Raboot as a Fire-type Pokemon not being able to do a fire move. And it's embarrassing, so you can't blame him. But yeah, I really did wish Ash would have sent his insight here rather than just being a spectator and enjoying his food. And we get this beautiful scene of the Age hunt or beautifly migration that they've been clamoring to see for all the days that they've been staying there. And it's really good to see how they respect the habitat and nature of what was going on, because they ask each other, yo, Satoshi, why aren't you battling them? Don't you want to battle them? And then Satoshi's like, no, go, don't you want to catch them? And they're like, no, it's too beautiful, man. We just want to sit here, enjoy and observe. And I just love that. These are Pokemon lovers. They're not just there for the battling or the catching or the novelty of what you can do with Pokemon, but they're just there to enjoy the nature of it. And it was beautifully animated on how they pulled off the migration scene. And it was even dubbed in this episode as the Agehante's relaxation, because it did look like a relaxing sight as they were watching it drift afar in the sky. And during their entire stay, Go notices that Raboot keeps leaving their bedroom and going somewhere else. So Ash and Go decides to investigate where Raboot's been going all this night. And you can kind of see their friendship blossom over here, because Ash is like, since Raboot was acting like weird all this time, why didn't you tell me, bro? I'm always here to help. I just love that simple scene where he reassures them that you should have told me earlier, man. And that scene alone just made me realize how much of a spirit animal Ash can be to me, because, dude, that's what bros do, man. If something's bothering you, don't even hide it. Just say it and we can all help each other out. And that's the bonding that I loved seeing that these two are having and will have in future episodes. And the shippers go wild. Anyway, kind of sneaking out at night like an adolescent kid trying to do what it wants to do without its parents telling him what to do. But all it was doing was just dancing with some local wild Pokemon. And those were the same wild Pokemon that tried to steal, or that tried to bait and steal Ash and Go's food supply, or the backpack that Ash dropped as he was trying to help the Zigzagoon when they initially arrived in Littleroot Town. And you could also see here the wonderful continuity of Rabbifuto's character when it was still a Hibunny, a Scorbunny, as it was feeding the trio of Nikit that it was bonding in the wild with. And I guess Rabbifuto remembered that when he saw the Zigzagoon trying to steal Ash's food. So it may be still rebellious and acting hard to get with Go, but it still has a good heart. And the apples that he didn't want to share with Go earlier was actually reserved for those homeless wild Pokemon that were desperate of finding food. So Raboot was just showing off its dancing skills with kicking multiple things like a can or objects, sort of like street breakdancing moves, though I'm not really familiar with that. Kind of looks like it. And that's what this cute little bunny wanted to do all its time, is just to express itself, that he didn't initially want to share with Go, even though he was its trainer. He even got challenged to a dance battle by a couple of Loudred that showed up out of nowhere. And then Pokemon can even have dance battles with one another. That should be like a mini game in a future Pokemon game. That'll be pretty interesting. Breakdancing nonetheless. And seeing what transpired, Go decides to cheer on and support its Pokemon partner out of the shadows, much to Rabbifuto's surprise. And of course, Ash and Pikachu joins along by drumming through some metal barrels, acting like they know how to drum, though it did kind of sound really in sync. So kudos to the actual sound effects people that produced that sound. So I'm wondering, is this gonna lead to an eventual goal that Go's Raboot wants to accomplish, like wants to be a master Poke breakdancer or enter a dancing tournament or something? I don't know, it might be just like a side hobby it wants to do as it develops its ember into an eventual Pyro Ball. And we get the quote-unquote sad scene at the end. Well, I mean, it was a bit sad, but we knew that it wasn't going to get released. It looks like it was going to get released, but Go decided that maybe it's best for Raboot to stay in Hoenn with these new friends it made, thinking that it would probably be happier without him. And then as they enter the train, Ash was like, it's fine for you to release the Pokemon, but at least say it to its face. And this is the wisdom part where I kind of praise Ash for saying, because he didn't share his story with his own Charmeleon before, because he has released a lot of Pokemon in the past. And with some of his initial releases, I think Pikachu was the first attempt back with the Goodbye Pikachu episode where he didn't really say it to his face that you seem happier here, I think I'm going to leave you, and then he just runs off crying. He eventually improved from that, and with his more recent releases, he did cry and tear up and even ran in the Charcific Valley in some of them. But he always made sure that he would tell the Pokemon in its face that you seem happier here, I think it's best if we part ways. But Go didn't do that, and Ash tried to tell him to do that until it was too late and the train doors shut down. And that's where the really dramatic flashbacks come in with Go and Scorbunny and Go's bonding with Raboot when it was still a Scorbunny, even though it's been like just a couple of episodes. We're not even 30 episodes in and we're already getting a couple of flashbacks from their short time together. But Go was really crushed. He regretted it, that I shouldn't have just released it. Maybe we could have talked. And then as he was crying, Raboot just opens up one of the train doors and saying, "Yo, sup, I'm here. I'm back. What's going on?" And he just hacks like, "Why are you crying, dude? I'm here." And I'm wondering, how did he get into the train? Did he just instantly woke up the moment where Go left him as he was sleeping and just passed by like a back door or something? Kind of reminds me of the time when it was still Score Bunny. It was attempting to get into one of the trains in Galar and finds a way inside. Maybe it had its own little adventure that we didn't see off screen. And I do have to say the Galar trains look definitely way better than the trains shown here in Hoenn. Kind of looks like a subway train, to be honest. Speaking from experience that has been to a lot of trains, since I used those as my commute going to work before all this COVID stuff happened. But we'll save that train discussion when Dento shows up, hopefully, or Silent. But yeah, Raboot was back, and by the looks of it, it kind of looks like they made up. Because maybe Raboot realized that even though you're not the perfect trainer, you still care for me, and I guess I'll give you another shot. Here, have an apple. On me. Go takes one bite, and then Raboot just swipes it off him and just takes a big chunk. And Go senses the smile that Raboot had and immediately just proceeds to go hug it. And Raboot was even so embarrassed, like, "Oh man, he caught me smiling." He was acting like a real tsundere, as I'd like to call that attitude, because I always want to show off that, no, I'm supposed to be angry at you. Don't think that I love you or anything, even though I really do, but damn it, why did I expose myself like this? So Go hugs him, squeezes him real tight, never want to let go again, and takes an adorable little selfie with it as Rabbifuto blushes heavily. And it was just a really cute scene to end the episode. Absolutely adorable. And I just really like where this is heading now that they hopefully made up, or maybe it's developing to a better relationship between the two. We can finally see a new and updated high five or fist bump once Go catches more Pokemon. And you can just tell these two just belong together. And with Ash's guidance and help, they'll be able to get better and support one another. And maybe it'll kick Ash again in the rear view. I kind of missed that gag already, ever since it evolved to a Rabbifuto. So yeah, I've finally given most of my thoughts through this entire rewatch project. And I'm very, very looking forward to the future once the series gets back into hiatus, so I can be up to date and talk about the episodes as they come out within the same week. I'll probably just wait for the subs before I give my thoughts, because I actually want to understand what they're saying. The next episode was supposed to air like the following week of this episode before they announced the darn hiatus because of the coronavirus. But it seems like Go's Golurk, the big Golurk that he caught in the Unova region, is going mad and in rage mode. So next episode is gonna be a chaotic one, to say the least. And it looks like Go's Cascoons finally might evolve. And Sakuragi and his crew might have to do a lot of cleaning once this is all over. And I am very looking forward to Riolu being in action once again. Ash's Riolu. And they even showed like a full preview, showing a couple of spoilers, I should say. I mean, I've already mentioned a few in the past. But I can't wait to see Sonia. Just more Galar spotlight, please. But we'll see. I might talk about that preview and maybe give some predictions and thoughts on it in another video, if by the time I upload this, the hiatus hasn't come out yet, because I have still yet to edit a couple of these, and these have been recorded way in advance. So only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, I'm going to be here for the entire ride. I'm very much looking forward to the future of this YouTube channel. I'm trying my best, and hopefully it can get better, as I am still in this trial phase. Let's go, as Ash and Go would say it. Peace, guys, and I hope everyone stays safe.